Hi everyone, in this video I'll be walking through the payment application process within Acumatica, specifically for accounts payable. So just a little bit of setup that I've already done. I have some outstanding bills for a AA services vendor. So I already have those created, so we'll walk through the payment of those using both ACH and check as the payment methods for today. A little note before we get started, I'll walk through creation of payment for a bill on kind of a one-by-one bill-to-bill basis. And then I'll also walk through how we would do more mass processing for payments. So either multiple bills across a single vendor or multiple bills across multiple vendors as well. So all of those use cases we'll tackle today. Before I get started, I'll go ahead and drill down into this bill and we can see what that looks like. So here I just have this pretty basic consulting services bill for AA services. So this is really where if I wanted to pay on a one-by-one basis for a bill, I could go ahead and do that through this screen. So I would just veer into a specific bill, and then I could go ahead and press that pay button to pay this bill individually. So I'll go ahead and walk through that process. So once I press that, it's going to automatically create a checks and payments, a payment for this specific vendor. And you'll see it's just pulling in the details from that bill. So it's auto-populating that in, and then I can also see some defaults from the vendor themselves as well. So there I have what their default payment method is. And so if I just look at this vendor quickly, on the payment tab, this is where I can start to see some of that payment information. So in this case, I have it defaulting to a check. I could also have different types of payment methods. So we saw ACH on that vendor record as well, Fedwire, etc. So I'll keep it as check for now, and then we'll walk through how that process looks. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. It's automatically applying that payment amount. If I wanted to pay partially, I could do that as well, depending on whether or not that is something that you have set up for that vendor. In this case, I do want to just pay that in full. So I'm going to leave that as is, and I'm going to remove the hold. Next, I'll go ahead and print and process. So there we can see it's going to take me to what looks like a processing screen. We'll come back to this. This is where we can start to use some of those automation tools to do more bulk processing of payments. But what it did, it just automatically popped me into that screen. It's pulling over just that single bill that I had. And then I'm going to go ahead and click process. Once I do that, we'll see it's automatically opening up this check form. So this is what it would look like out of the box within Acumatica. Acumatica also has the ability to integrate with positive pay providers so that we can have that functionality as well. And what that would allow is the positive pay file that can then be uploaded to the bank. So that is also available within Acumatica. All right, so here we have that check, and then I could go ahead and print it as well. And there we'll see that payment was made, and then I have that reference number back to that payment as well. Then I could go ahead and release this again, either manually, or this is something that we could run on a schedule as well. All right, so that's kind of the one-by-one basis. A little bit of an intermediary. We could do multiple payments, or one payment for multiple bills rather, for a single vendor. So one way to do that is if I go to my checks and payments screen, I can go ahead and click new payment. And then once I type in this vendor, that AA services, I could click this load documents button. And what that will do is pull in any of those outstanding bills that need to be paid. So you'll see at the beginning, I had 4 of those. I paid one individually. Now it's going to pull any of those remaining open ones into this screen to then apply the payment. So I could do it this way, and then you'll see I can type in what payment amount I want to apply. Maybe I'll do it in full again. And then what it will do is it's going to create that one payment against all of these 3 bills. So I won't walk through this entire process, but that is one way to do it. Probably the most common way we would see people paying their vendors would be in this prepare payments and process payment screen. So I'll walk through what this would look like, as well as how we might begin to automate this. So here I just have this prepare payment screen, and this is where I can kind of mass process these payments. So either I can go to this screen, kind of check any of these bills that I want to process and pay, or I can also set this to run on a schedule. So it could say process all of these that go into this queue, meaning they had an AP bill and that AP bill was released, now ready to pay. I could have those all drop into this queue and then run on a schedule. So I could have this running daily, weekly, whatever the case may be. So it's going to pay anything that's due within 7 days, for example. However, I have these filters set up. I can also have additional filters at the top. So I could use this filter to just pay that specific vendor all of those open bills on this screen as well. And this would look similar to what we just saw in terms of that load documents button on the bills and adjustment screen as well. So really this has additional flexibility, and then we can really process all of them at once, pay on a vendor by vendor basis, etc. What they do have in common is that common payment method. So in this case, ACH is what all of these vendors prefer to be paid via. And so all of these are populating via that ACH payment method. If I were to change this payment method, as we would expect, we would see different breakdown of those open bills by vendor based on that check payment method. So I'll go back to this ACH payment, and then we can go ahead and process these in bulk. So maybe I won't process all of these, but I'll process 3 at the bottom there for that vendor. I can go ahead and click process. And remove that hold. Again, it's batching that payment for that full amount of those bills that make up that payment. Perfect. And then since this is an ACH payment, you'll notice that it did create this file. So that would be the NACHA file that would be uploaded to the bank. It did that all within Acumatica. So it produces that file, which then you can go ahead and upload to the bank. And finally, I can release this. Perfect. And we'll see the status is closed on this payment now. So again, pretty high level in terms of paying vendors, but multiple different payment methods within Acumatica. We can pay via check, ACH, Fedwire, etc. And then for things like ACH, we would get that NACHA file that would be uploaded to the bank. And then for check payments, the positive pay functionality is available as well. So it's a high level overview of vendor payments within Acumatica. If you were interested in what you saw here, please feel free to reach out and we can discuss further. Thank you.